Hello all, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you are here. This video has been requested a lot. I've been asked questions over and over and over about how much I spent so far on the house, specific things like how much I spent on cement. But what I'm going to give you is an overview of how much I've spent on certain things, and on the biggest categories I'll give you specifics. Okay. uh, I didn't want to give you guys like half answers. I wanted to give you a full picture. So what I've done is I've actually collected all the data from my bank statements, everything, and put it together for you guys so that you can see how much I've spent. So before we get started, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the like button. And if you don't get notification, please do make sure that you get all notification by clicking on the bell next to the on the bottom side of this video, because when you do that, that helps my videos bubble up and other people to see them. And if you're from South Africa especially, please do share this video, because I want other people to see what we're doing in the countryside. We're trying to revolutionize what's going on in South Africa by basically show people that you don't have to be in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, and all these big cities in order to have a good life. I have not started this revolution. A lot of people have been doing this, and I'm just following in their footsteps, and in hopes that I can also add value. So to go back to the video, so I'm going to give you guys also a little bit of a background, so that if you did not watch my playlist, which by the way you should watch, my playlist on building my modern farmhouse, and I will link on it up here in the video. Make sure that you at least try to watch those videos. But if you haven't, I just want to give you a quick background, okay, of how this whole thing started. So the initial budget for this whole building, the whole thing, I had set aside 1.5 million rands, about 100,000 US dollars. And as you will see, it was not even close to being enough. Okay, it's not even halfway there. So the total budget basically excluded the fencing, which I did initially. Thank you to my mom. I sent her money and I said, please make sure you take care of this fencing, and she did an absolute wonderful job. And I miss her dearly, because a lot of things would be moving along whether I'm there or not, but she's no longer here, as you already know, so I have to do everything myself. And this also excludes the land. As some of you already know, I inherited the land. That is my ancestral right to the land, and I'm basically taking advantage of that. And I also realized that even though it's not in the best location in terms of like what is desirable in real estate, I was building a multi-generational home, a place where I'll say this is my home in South Africa, and this is where I'll be buried basically. So I wanted to build, so I wasn't focused on reselling or market, but something that I can live if the area ever gets developed enough, like my generations, my future generations will be able to inherit that. So that was the goal here. So that's why I ended up taking advantage of the land that was available to me. And I'm forever grateful to my mom for helping facilitate all of that. Our hope was for us to spend a lot of time together, but it did not happen, as I've already said multiple times, and it's hard for me to exclude that, because I want people to know why I chose to build there. I wanted to be close enough to my mom after 22 years of living in the United States and seeing her like every 2 weeks. Every few years, sometimes every year, even though I had planned to go every year this time because my kids are grown. Seeing her just, like those short periods of time when I visited South Africa wasn't enough. So I wanted to go more to South Africa and spend time with her. So this also excludes any miscellaneous costs. that, you know, like, are not significant enough, or they would make this video very long, but they did add to the total cost. So the goal initially was to spend 3 months in South Africa, build our house, uh, build a small space for living quarters for someone who's going to watch their house, come back to America. That was all the goal, okay? But in phase one, what we ended up doing, we fenced the yard, we built a guest house, which initially, as I said, was to build just a small little basic house for a guard, but I ended up wanting to create a space for me to live while I'm building, and I made the house so nice that I actually I'm gonna need to build another house for the guard, because that house is so pretty and I can use as an extra guest space when, you know, we are all in South Africa. Even, you know, like if my friends come over and all that, they can live in that guest space. And I also built my college graduated private schooled outdoor toilet. I never shown you the video, but I do have a video somewhere. But it's absolutely beautiful, and I ended up building that as well in phase one. Again, not in the initial plan, but it's something I needed to do because it ended up being very useful. All the people who worked in my house, they used that bathroom and they were very happy about that. And then we also ended up building the main house walls, and you've seen the last one of the videos that I did last time, which shows the actual walls that are completed. So just to give you again a summary of what ended up happening. So I arrived in South Africa in September 2020, and for over a month, I had to quarantine for 10 days. I made a video about that, and then go to the village. And then my mom and I started a hunt for a builder. Part of why we wanted to do it that way, to be honest with you, I didn't want someone to say, I can build, I can do this. I wanted to see the builder, their work, what they've done, because I don't live in South Africa. So I wanted to make sure that I can go and see their work. And I was able to find a builder. And in November 2020, we started the project. Then the holidays, Christmas holidays rolled around, and in South Africa, pretty much everything closes at that time. So the guy requested that, you know, like they would go on holiday and take time off. So they took almost a month off. And before they could come back, my mother passed away in January of 2021. Very unexpected, out of the blue. 5 days, I would say, max of serious, you know, like illness, and she was gone. And just again, not to dwell on that, but she didn't have COVID. She had a heart failure, and that's what happened. And I wanted to put that out there. And then in February of 2021, we resumed the building. And then that like took way longer than I thought it would take, way longer. And I had to replace the builders because, you know, like of issues of corruption, of issues of lack of skill and all those things. I had to replace them, and I had to wait on, you know, like things like the design of the slab and all those things. They added a lot of time. And I also took like almost 2 weeks off where I was just attending to my daughter being there, and I kind of stopped everything with just a break and a lot of fun. And then in September of 21, I came back. Then now we're going to talk about the house summary, why everything costs so much. So basically, the house is a modern farmhouse, okay, and it has a total square footage of 8,354. That's the building square foot for the main house, okay. That includes your garage, your verandas, even like the pool area, and it includes the whole house, okay. And then on the upstairs, we have about 2,167 square feet. So I converted everything to square meters, because in South Africa I had to work with square meters, which was a big challenge for me, because Remember, I hadn't used the metric system in like forever, like 22 years, and now all of a sudden I had to convert everything back to square feet, to square meters. But in order for me to make sense of the space, I had to use square feet and then convert that to square meters, because meters, I really had no, like I live in a house that has a square foot in America. And so I know I want a size, this size bedroom, I want this size, like in terms of square feet. And then I had to translate that to meters. So that's why you're seeing two columns. And also just to help people who use a metric system to understand, and the people who use the English system to understand. So basically, the living space, it's around 5,600 square feet, and I believe that is around 500 square meters. So yeah, so that's basically part of why the house is costing so much. Now, finally, we come to the cost. So this here is basically the tiles, how much just on the tiles. And remember, this includes the small house, and because I haven't put in any tiles on the main house, the small house and the toilet, outdoor toilet, that is the total amount I spent on tiles. I don't know how much that is in dollars, but basically I gave most of my time, of my money to Cape Tiles. They, like they have, to me, probably the best selection. And then Africa East, Tile Africa also was a good place to buy tile. CTM, that includes some of the fixtures that I bought, like taps for the guest room, there in that cost. Okay, so that's basically how much I spent. And on steel was one of the things I did not expect to pay that much. But guys, I paid 244,041 rands and 76 cents. I can't even pronounce that, read that number. 244,041 rands and 76 cents. Okay, and that's how much I spent just on steel. And that is really the main. I spent other little amounts at the local store there, like Build It and Cash Build. I've bought some steel from them. These just the major ones where I bought everything in bulk, including for ground floor and the second floor. So yeah, that's how much I spent on steel. Again, very shocking to me. Okay, and then the total building cost, if we're gonna look at the total building cost of this, okay, I spent 2,010,223 rands and 52 cents. 2 million, guys. That is all the money I spent just on the building. This excludes my living expenses like car rental and all the, like my food and all that. I spent over 2 million. Again, the initial budget for the whole project was 1.5, but if you factor in like, like all the site preparation and all those things, then the price just kept on ballooning and ballooning and ballooning. That's literally how much I spent. So 12% of that cost is the 244,000 that you saw, which is the steel. Okay, and then in terms of the cash, that cash includes the labor costs. Okay, and it includes the cost for actual materials. That's almost 600,000 rands. Okay, and that was 30% of the total cost. And then for, oh my gosh, this is another number that blew my mind. Okay, for a ready-mix concrete, I paid over 400,000 rands. Okay, over 400,000 rands just on the ready-mix that was brought in, okay, to pour the foundation and to pour for the second floor. That's it. Those two things cost me over 400,000. That doesn't include anything else, the steel, whatever. No, just the mud. I was just mind blown. Okay. And then another big cost, that cost actually that says blocks, that doesn't include blocks that I bought from the hardware. It's just there's a place called Dugatole in Eastern Cape, and they sell the best blocks based on what I was told. And so I ended up buying bulks from them, and they would deliver them, and every time they delivered them, I had to pay more than 4,000 rands just to have them put in a lift, so that the guy who's bringing them can just lift them off. That doesn't include all the stuff that I bought from Cash Bill. I remember one time I bought 20,000 worth of bricks, and I bought 10,000 again worth of blocks. Like, I mean, I bought so much like blocks that I lost count, okay, of how many blocks I used. And I'm still gonna go back and see how much, you know, like I've used. But yeah. And then the hardware stuff, that includes your cement, that includes your, you know, like your stuff for the roof for the guest house, your fascia boards, you know, like, and windows and stuff like that, doors, the storage, that was also included there. I made this storage, which was very nice. So all those things went in there. And as I said, with the 600,000, basically that is the cash that I use. That doesn't include my living spaces, but the cash that I use for the building. Okay. And if you have any questions, please don't forget to ask them below. So this is the non-building cost and my living expenses. So as I said, I was there for a year. I had planned to be there for 3 months. I rented a car. I totally could have bought the car, okay, because I paid over 120,000 just on car rental. And for dining, gosh, did I eat 16,000 rands? I did. Basically, it's grocery store stuff. And remember, after my mom passed away, I mean, even before my mom passed away, I was basically taking care of the groceries and stuff like that for everyone. And my mom had four or five kids, and it was her and me. And so I had to basically make groceries for everyone, and that in itself was, you know, like a lot of money. And then like the health cakes, basically stuff I bought from the, you know, like from the chemist and stuff like that. Lodging is when I've gone, like, you know, like to places and I stayed the night and stuff like that. That's how much I paid. I think actually that doesn't reflect the total cost, but let's just accept that. And then I had 27,000, you know, like rents of other services that I had. And for my airfare, I paid 1,700. This is when I was going to Cape Town, and also all these things basically include like the cost, my living costs. And I spent like, I don't know the total amount. I should have put in the total amount, but that's pretty much how much I spent. Almost really 600,000 that I spent while I was there. So another thing. So the one thing I would like to highlight, basically I spent a lot of money on things like sand, water. I had to buy water mainly because in our area we didn't have water, and we felt like the people who are responsible for water were playing games, because other areas had water, but our village didn't. So I had to buy water. But the thing about when people do stuff like that is they do hurt the people who can't afford to buy their own stuff. But I did end up buying a lot of water actually, and people were overcharging me. That's another actually thing that really raised my cost. And then shuttering, I spent a lot of money. I paid 70,000 for, you know, like the shuttering for the slab, and that's just for renting the stuff and have it installed and be taken down. And also I had to pay another like 30,000 for an engineer to do the slab design, and that was a money well spent, because there was no way I could have done that or knew how to do that. And in fact, when I got that engineer, he referred me to someone who sells steel like a different company. If you remember, I had about 244,000 worth of, like stuff, steel that I bought. In fact, had I bought from this company, I probably would have saved I saved 30,000 that one time, but I probably could have saved something like 50,000 if I had bought directly. That so it started with the engineer, and then it went to the steel company. The steel company recommended the people who are called steel fixers, the people who installed. That was flawless work. Okay, one day, over 5,000 pieces, and they finished it, and they did an excellent job. They specialize in that, and again, money well spent. So I'm happy that I was able to do that. And again, I spent a lot of money on cement. If you recall, I don't have maybe I'll share a picture right now, but one of the things that this guy, the one who did the foundation, who really messed me up big time. Big time. I paid the guy a lot of money, and I had to fire him. Okay. In fact, I didn't have to fire him. He literally disappeared because he couldn't believe that I paid him that much money, and he wasn't even close to being done. And he left me with a huge mess that I had to fix. Literally, I had to redo the foundation. The reason for the pool is because I was trying to contain the sand that was under the house to make sure that it never moves. And that meant that I had to build those walls that you see, and then I ended up putting the pool, and that again added a lot to the cost. Labor, the material that I had to buy, but at the end of the day, it worked out. And as you saw also, I had to buy a lot of concrete, and I had to buy like a lot of blocks and bricks. That's pretty much where most of the money went. That's what I would say. And then the last thing that I would like to talk about is the second phase. This is going to be, again, another very expensive major second phase, which basically is what I wanted to complete at least when I started this whole project. But first of all, the project dragged for a year, and I had to come back and see my family kind of recover financially and all those things. And so now I'm getting ready to go back there, and I've been doing a lot of research, making sure that all the people that I'm going to be working with are actually qualified people who know what they do. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is to build an underground water reservoir, and that reservoir hopefully in the future will be connected to a borehole. But for now, all the gutters will send the water to that underground water reservoir. It will work as a tank when the borehole is done, but the borehole is going to be expensive, so I'm going to leave that as part of the third phase. And then we're going to do tie all the building loose ends. I still have some work that needs to be done, brickwork inside, and then I have a beam that needs to be completed in the back balcony upstairs, and I have a window that needs to be cut out because they sized it incorrectly, and my house was built around furniture. If I don't have enough space to put a bed because they put window in the wrong place, I have to fix that. So, and then the next thing will be electrical tubing. I already got a code for that. Plumbing. I'm working with 3 people here, but if they are watching right now, I'm just not very confident because they seem to not be as enthusiastic or as interested. So I may have to find a backup for that. And then we'll do plastering once we have all the chasing done. Chasing is basically when you open those drill for for tubing and for plumbing pipes so that they are inside the wall. And then we'll do roofing. Already got a code for that. We'll do some sort of flooring. Still not sure because I have a million tiles that I need to do in my house. I'm looking probably another 150K just on the tiling, and because of the amount of space that needs to be tiled, so I need to figure out how the minimal I can do just so I can have some sort of flooring in the next phase, and then I'll come back and finish, do the finishes in the third phase. And then we'll have windows and doors. Already got a code for that. Painting, burglar bars, and hopefully solar system. I kind of need a solar system because South Africa is very unreliable supply of electricity, and the only thing that often works in my house is my electricity, and that's really what I'm going to end up having to do. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am right now. And again, thank you so much for watching. I dreaded this video because I got to a point where I didn't count, because everything was just so out of control. I was just like, okay, let's spend whatever we have with my husband. And he was very understanding because none of us had ever done this. And I was trying to do it, making sure that I'm there to begin with, because I wanted everything to be specific. I designed the house, and I want the house to come out exactly how I imagined it, okay? Or at least to very close to what I imagined. So, and also to make sure that I control things and I understand what they're doing at any given time. I need to be there because I don't want, because a lot of times when you're building in South Africa, if there's a problem, it's your problem. And another thing is, maybe what I could have done differently is to find a real general contracting company that's gonna look at my plan. But I really thought I could wing this thing in 3 months, okay? But I needed someone who's going to look at my plan and try and get my plan to as close as possible, because like a lot of these general contractors, they'll say, okay, per room we're going to put 1 plug, per room we're going to put, you know, like maybe a light. And for me, I want everything custom. I want, you know, like right now, let me see if you can see this. Right now, this is next to my bed. Oh, let me cover my pills so you don't see them. They're not drugs or anything. I mean, in America, that's what they call them. But the point is, I can switch on my lights here, and I can switch them off. I have switches by the door. All those things are things that, you know, like a general contractor with a set price, everything else will be additional. But I wanted to make sure that I take care of those things and I have them. And a lot of builders in South Africa are very especially the ones in the villages, they don't understand why you want all these things, all these conveniences, and they just decide, oh, we'll do this. Like the guy was doing my toilet, okay? I came back one day, he had changed the column, the way that the columns are supposed to be without telling me. And at that point, I was just so tired. I was like, whatever. I let him do it. But the point is that imagine if people had that attitude when it comes to the main house, and they think things are not important. You know, they are important to me, and that house is going to be my forever home. So I wanted to make sure that it's as close to perfect as possible. So make sure you stay with me for the next phase of the building, and hopefully you can share this video, especially if, you know, like you are thinking about moving to Africa. If you're thinking about, you know, like building in the village, those who live in the city, guess what? You better do it now, because all this is going to be gone in the, you know, in the next few years, because a lot of people are realizing that I don't have to live in a small house in the city. I can build myself a nice you know, like house in the village and relax and, you know, like, and enjoy life. Life isn't supposed to be hard. Life isn't supposed to be, you know, like suffering. Life is supposed to be as easy as you want it to be. And again, I'm not advocating for any of my lifestyle. I'm saying this is what I want, and I'm grateful that I have an opportunity. I just wish my mom was here to see it all, and that she, you know, like our parents, really, my mother-in-law as well, because she's very dear to me, as you all know, and I would have liked for her to be here. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to hit that button, like button, so important. Subscribe if you haven't. Just am so grateful for all your support. Thank you so much. Bye.